I released my first game solely from tiny focused morning sessions. And if you are like I was, you only have 1 hour a day to learn, then there is a specific way you need to use that hour if you actually want to learn. Also, just to be clear, I'm talking about releasing a game here. That's a whole process. And sure, it took me a few months to actually release this game when I only had like these focused morning sessions for around 1 to 2 hours. But I could have done it with 1 hour as well. But right now, I'm specifically talking about learning game development. And learning game development is like completely different from releasing a game, as you might know. Because like when you're releasing a game, obviously it takes a lot of time, there's a lot of things to do, it's a process that takes you months. Whilst to learn, you can basically just hop on your computer for 1 hour and you always know what to do if you do the one thing that I'm going to tell you. In general, what I want to tell you is that if you only have 1 hour a day, then you need to first focus on effective learning. If you understand this correctly, then you'll get ahead of 99% of other beginners. Because if you actually learn the effective way, 99% of people won't. So you're actually going to be in the top 1%, because all of these people that try to get into game development, they just watch tutorials endlessly, and you are actually not going to do that, because watching tutorials, it doesn't work. If tutorials worked, then a tutorial video with 2 million views would produce 2 million game developers, and it very, very surely didn't. So if you only have 1 hour, then I really don't want you to waste that 1 hour just watching a tutorial, because when you watch a tutorial, you aren't going to remember any of the things, you aren't going to be able to actually understand the things and be able to use them practically when you are eventually releasing your first games. So there's no point in like wasting time watching tutorials. If you actually want to learn in this 1 hour that you have, it's critical that you actually learn how to learn, like you use your time effectively. And since tutorials is a form of passive learning where you are just consuming, you're watching something, we can't do that to learn game development. What we need to do instead here is to do active learning. And active learning, that's where, in short, we learn by doing. So you learn by not making like complete games, but we're going to make small mechanics of a game. That's like the beginner thing that you can do. Even if you have very little knowledge right now, you can make some mechanics, or you can at least tweak or break them. So I'm not going to go into like the complete depth about this topic right now, because I have a lot of other videos on my channel about it. Tutorial how like active, passive learning, recognition, understanding, all these learning things. But what I'm going to tell you in short, don't spend this 1 hour watching it at all. If you have like downloaded the game engine, you have like familiarized yourself with like the development process, you just need to learn scripting now, then you don't need the tutorials at all, basically. If you watch a tutorial, you should feel guilty because you're wasting time. And also, like, the most important thing to remember on this learning journey, while you're actually learning and you're doing these things, you're building, you do active learning, like I talked about, it's very important that you remember this thing. So, struggle. You think struggle means bad. Struggle means I should find a solution, I should ask AI, I should search for a tutorial. But when you struggle with something, you shouldn't actually do these things immediately. What you should do is just embrace it and actually struggle with the thing. Because the more you struggle, the more you're actually going to remember the thing and learn how to use that thing practically. For example, you can imagine if you struggle with a problem in your code, like you made a movement system, for example, and then you have like a problem, it doesn't work like you intended. If you just embrace it, you restrict your information for like 10 minutes, you can change, tweak, and try to fix this movement system that you have. And just by doing that alone, you're going to learn so much about how this works, and you might even find a solution. So even though it took you 10 minutes, and it also should feel hard because you don't know the answer, like generally, and you can search for it. So even though it feels hard, and it also feels like you're like wasting time because you spend so much time on just a simple thing, even though you did these things, you're actually going to understand this movement system so much better if you just struggle with the thing before you actually search for the solution. If you can't do it for like 10-20 minutes, then obviously use Google, preferably. No AI, no tutorials, preferably Google, because that's still going to be the struggle here that we talked about. So struggle means good. To struggle in game development, basically the only thing we have to do is just these two words: restrict information. So before we cover like general productivity advice, even though I said general, you haven't heard of them before, I'm sure. Before we cover that, I just want to say that SmartIndie is built upon these exact effective learning principles that we just talked about, as well as I go more into detail there about all the general like productivity things and what's important for productivity throughout your entire journey. So inside of SmartIndie, what I do is that I walk the students through going from stuck into trolls all the way through releasing and finishing their first game. If you don't release it within 60 days, I will also personally coach you for free, so it's going to take all the risk away from you because I'm so confident that you will. So if you just want to make the entire journey just 10 times easier and guarantee that you're going to release a first game, like 99% of beginners don't release a first game, so if you do, then you're in the top 1%. If you want to be in the top 1%, then it's the first link in the description. Okay, so this is going to be the general productivity advice. The preparation for the session, it's so important. Probably more important than the session itself. So I'm just going to give you a few practical tips there, and you can apply preferably all of them. When we are restricted on time, it's very important that our brain works the best. So the thing I recommend to you is that you wake up earlier. And right now you might have a lot of limiting beliefs, but I promise you, if you work in the mornings, your brain is going to work so much better. And you might say, well, I'm not a morning person, I'm just going to do it in the evening, things like that. Well, I was just like you. I was an evening person, or I thought I was. I just started waking up earlier to go to the gym when I had school and I didn't want to go to the crowded gym. So I woke up earlier to go to the gym, and at 5 a.m. and I was 15, so I think you can wake up at 5 a.m. as well if a 15-year-old can do it. That's what I did, and I just fell in love with it. When you have a coffee and you get used to it, you won't even feel tired in the morning like you might think right now. You're actually going to have a lot of energy because you have just slept, your brain has rested, your whole body has rested actually, and you also have this natural increase in cortisol and alertness in your brain. So you're just going to be more alert, and you're going to work just much better when you actually do the work, opposed to the evening where you might have eaten food, you might have gone to school or job, and you have done 1,000 different things, talked to 1,000 different people, you have done 1,000 different small things, and your brain is just right. I promise you, if you actually take game development a little serious and you actually want to achieve something here, you should wake up earlier. I think that's going to be a maybe 2x productivity boost for you. And I also mentioned this with food, that in the evenings you might have eaten, and I promise you, bro, that's going to be a huge thing, because if you eat, then your body has to process all that food and you're going to be sluggish because of it, because your entire body just uses all of its energy with processing the food in your stomach. If you fast and in the morning, then it's going to be an awesome session. And if you do this thing as well, I'm going to tell you the last thing now, if you do these 3 things, you wake up early, you don't eat, you fast, and you do this one thing that I'm going to tell you now, you're going to be unstoppable. This is what I do. This is my exact routine. You can drink a coffee, maybe 30-60 minutes after you're waking up, so that you aren't dependent on it. That's what I recommend. But you can have a coffee and then you can put MCT oil inside of that coffee. So you might say I'm so hungry, I need to eat food or whatever. Then sure, you can have MCT oil, which is calories, so your brain is going to have the energy that it needs. The MCT oil is going to give the brain its energy, all the energy that it needs, but it's also going to be light in calories, and it's also going to be I say light in calories because you aren't going to put a lot on it, but obviously it's completely fat, so it's very calorie dense. But I'm talking about specifically since we aren't going to take the entire jar of the oil, we're just going to put a little spoon on it, and since you fast, you don't have to think about calories. So yeah, the hunger feeling is kind of going to go away, even though you don't eat breakfast, because you have this coffee and you have this MCT oil, which gives the brain its energy, as well as it won't spike your blood sugar or be very heavy for your digestive system. So if you do these 3 things for your general productivity, as well as you do the effective learning, then you're basically guaranteed to make progress much faster than 99% of other beginners. But if you just want to lock everything in, you want the entire step-by-step process laid out perfectly for you, and be 100% guaranteed that you will finish your first game, then SmartIndie, still the first link in the description, and I think it's going to be a really interesting offer for you. So you can check that out right now if you want to. Either way, thank you so much for watching.